Today is Friday, June 21st, and we're on Webinar 72, and your Imagine series, not image, but Imagine, right?
Imagine WX.
Imagine the possibilities in WX number 5, believe it or not. And so, looks like you got some extra stuff to show us too, besides pick lists.
I do. I've got some small things to show.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
So
okay,
we're going to revisit the pick list from last week, and actually I implemented another one. So I'll just show you how easy it is to implement that, and then we'll just visit DateTime Manipulation, and then look at implementing CKEditor. So let's get down to business here. Keep it short this morning. Let me run this here. And last week we had seen how we had done the window and had that in the container of a combo box. And so you would just select the record that you want. Okay. And then another user was saying, boy, they wanted a kind of like a smaller pick list, but I think he was trying to get it implemented like Podomus has their picker. So this was just my take on that, where I've just made it really simple, where I come up with a list, and we can sort the list. You can search in there to position on the item. You can select it. You can do your add edits from there, like we could on the previous one, and then just say select and fill it back in. So there's nothing special about those windows. You would just create them as you normally would. And either one is put in a combo box to display, or you just call the other one through code to open the window. So let's look at how I implemented that and how easy it actually is to do it. If I look at the combo box, if I know something has been selected in the combo box right here, then I come down and I actually reset it, so I'm getting ready to add a record. I'm going to add this in here. And then I come down and I just say these fields equal the values coming back, because it's a query that we're using in that previous window. And if I come down here to this button, then we just do it where we do our traditional open of a window. And that window is returning a sysid or any value that I want, so I know that you actually made a selection. And if you made a selection in there, then again, we just set these values here to what's coming back from that query.
Is that like
I mean, it's that simple.
So is that sysid like a FEQ in Clarion?
The sysid is the primary key coming back.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
From the query. It could be any value.
Okay.
Right? I just happen to choose that. Yeah. I could have even said my return value is true or false, depending where you're at. It's up to you. So clearly, it's just that simple to implement some kind of a pick list or actually bringing values back from another window. I thought it was cool because somebody had a question on how you do that.
So does anybody have do that now?
Yeah.
Anybody? Jack? It looks pretty cool.
No questions? Okay.
Looks too easy.
It is. It's cool and it's easy. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. And it goes back to like Pete would always say, you know, if it's too hard, seems too hard, you're probably doing it wrong.
Well, if it's too...
Which I still come up with my share of that. But
if it's too hard, that means you didn't take Glenn's class and got the example to put it on there.
There you go. Thanks for that. All right. Let's go look at DateTime Manipulation, and it's really just an incrementer that I have here. And so let me run this. And if I've got a spinner here, and I'll just show you what we're doing. If I select the spinner, you see that we're changing actually the month right now. And you can see as I'm doing that, the day also changes. But if I put my cursor in the days, now I'm incrementing the days. And if I put my cursor in the year, I can now increment the years instead.
So, Glenn, what is the default normally when you when you come in, is it the days that it increments? Do you start it at the day? Because wouldn't that be the normal case?
That would, but I have not set up the default on that.
But you can,
I'm defaulting, I think, probably to 0. Oh, sure. You just go and set where your cursor position is
oh,
for what you
okay,
want and have it
okay,
default to the days. Yeah, and I may go back and revisit that this morning. This is just something that I pulled back out of training and always looking for enhancements.
cool.
So let's look to see how this is done. So here is an edit control, and you can see that it's set for a date. Okay, and we've got a spinner here, and here's where all the actions happening in the code. And this is actually what I'm doing here. Is the first thing I do is I declare a variable as date, and then I say, and of course, when you declare a variable as date, it defaults to today's current date. And then I say that date is actually equal to the value that's in the edit control. And then down here, I'm grabbing the, just so I know what it was, I'm grabbing where the cursor is in the edit control. But anyway, here, if your cursor's in position 1 or 2, you're going to be incrementing the month. And notice that's the way that we increment the month, is just ddate dot dot month plus plus. So go up 1, click it, go up again. If you're in positions 0, 4, or 5, I'm actually incrementing the days, okay? And this was probably my first attempt there, is coming in and saying, oh, if I'm in position 0, nothing selected, just do the day, but that's not working on 0. I think what happens as soon as you start clicking and you're at that control, it assumes or puts you in position 1, so I need to just update this. And again, that's how we're going to update the day, is just by plus plus, same with the year. And then once that's all incremented, I just come down to make sure that we have a valid date right here. And if we do, I'm now going to make the edit control equal to the date that we just manipulated. And otherwise, if it's not a valid date, then we're going to make it date sys, which is today's date. Okay. And if I come down to the minus portion, the decrementing of the spin date, we do the same thing again, but it's minus minus. Okay. So, you know, with dates and times, working with those is so simple, as long as you get it down that we can just work with the dot dot month, dot dot day, dot dot year, and work with each one of those. It's also nice when you declare the variable as a date that it is actually today's date. So again, nothing difficult about this. It's just a rather simple example, but these are nice possibilities of things that you can create really quickly.
Well, the examples are great because, you know, I love to copy and paste.
I hear you. So do I.
So I get your thing about the cursor. So I could set that cursor location easily, right there.
Yeah, you could. And this is a perfect candidate for a control template. Then you could just plop that on any window and have your date and your date time running. And again, let me run this because we were just doing the date, but we also have the time that we can increment and do the same thing with this. Okay, so I'm just I first increment the hour, the minute, and now the seconds.
So you could be a
and now
what you call a component, you said, or super control
control
template.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you can make that into a component. I can see this as a control template in here too. Just drag it and put it on a form. It depends how you want to implement it. The code's there, the objects are there. Just use them how you want them.
Or you can be like Pete and turn it into a class, huh?
Yeah, a lot of possibilities. Maybe there's other things you want to do in that too. But
Koten asks, show the catch of date is not valid. So you had it right there on line 17.
Yeah.
Colton, is that what you're asking? So he does check to see if they because that event is incrementing the date, so that's where you'd catch it.
Yeah, just to make sure.
I assume we got it.
Okay. Shall we move on to the next
I would
example?
think so.
Hello, Cotton here.
Oh.
Okay.
Who's this?
Hello,
Go
it's
ahead.
Cotton. The question
Yeah.
was when you're running the application, can you ever get a situation where the date is not valid?
Yes. Right. How did this get? How does it get invalid by going in and typing it in rather than because a cursor?
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I would think you could get invalid, but just by having a date that you type in that field. But the question, or how I think of it, is I might not be able to think how I would get an invalid date. But if I didn't trap for it or prepare for it, I'm opening myself to some issues with the user. So I just want to verify that I have a valid date. I mean, that's a good question. I can go in and try it later and see how you get an invalid one. But I was just trapping for it.
Hey,
Period.
Glenn.
Okay.
I'm thinking too that if you're using the up and down arrows, they will cycle through only valid dates, right? I mean, it's not like you could go in and be on the month and start incrementing it, and it would go to the wrong day, like put the 31st of June.
But Glenn makes a great point. Belt and suspenders are never going to fail you.
Yeah, no, error checking is always good. So if you were keying in a date, do you go through this event also though, or do you have a different event to handle that?
Well, let's go do that. I mean, the whole point of this was just showing how to increment and decrement dates. But let's no, that's okay. Let's give it a try. Let's put in 33, and it won't even take it for 30. It took it for there. And 31 is an invalid date for June.
But if you use that cursor, I mean the arrow, the spinner would not.
Yeah, unless.
Oh wait, go ahead. Bad date.
See, there we go with it.
Yeah.
There we go.
So it's built in, eh?
Yeah, that is.
And like if you put your cursor on the 31 right now, and you did the up and down, it would probably go to the correct, like July 1 or to the 30th, right? Or does it let you do anything?
I'm in 31. My cursor's, yeah. No, that's because of the date checking within that control itself. Okay. So, I mean, he had a valid point. How do you get an invalid date? And I have not tried every situation. Maybe it's not possible to put in a bad date, but I'm checking for it.
No, I think that's a good idea anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No. Yeah, anybody got any?
No, I think we're good now. Thanks for the question. We like it.
Yeah.
We got imagine the possibilities and think the possibilities of problems.
Exactly.
Anticipate.
Yesterday on the Skype chat, I came at the tail end of something, and Rob was explaining to somebody how to implement CKEditor. And so I looked at it and I go, man, that really is simple. I had used TinyEditor before, and it's rather simple, the same type of thing, but this really is simple. And the CKEdit, or CKEditor, which you can search for, is the updated version of FKEditor, or FCKEditor. So let me go to the, we'll run this and I'll show you what we're looking at.
They dropped the F. I didn't know they dropped the F.
Yeah. So this is now, we've transitioned from WD to WB in our WX series. So let's go and take a look at the implementation. So this is their full editor, HTML editor. Rather many toolbars, but they have a basic, a standard, and a full, I believe.
Yes.
And so let's just put in a value here. The likes would be
Or custom too, I believe.
program. Yes, because you can actually, they do have the custom, and they also have where you can modify the look and feel of this just through JavaScript, which I think will be my next example that I'll create. But let's go ahead and let's do some bold, italics, underline, and strike through, and say programming WX, and we'll say OK. And we'll save that. And you'll notice it came back, and if you look in the first record in the likes column, you can see all the tags there that they have for that. And so my thought was how to go ahead and clean that up so people can see the right data, or the proper data. Let's go here. Sorry about that. And if I actually just use HTML to text, it will strip out all the tags. And so now when I run this, now you can see that's all cleaned up here. Okay.
Oh, that can't be that easy.
WX. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's how you strip out HTML. And so Rob and I were going around yesterday with he's wanting to print a report. And so, we said, well, if this works here, then it should work in the report. And sure enough, it does. You can actually just go to your printing, and actually what you do is you take your item and you unlink it from the database. And then just through code, as you retrieve the value and you set the item to what you've done. So it takes maybe 1 or 2 lines of code just to clear that out in the report. So nice looking report. Now what would be nice is to implement it so you actually have the formatting in there, but this will at least remove the tags. Now let's go and look at how we implement CKEdit. And let me check this out.
Hey, Glenn?
So we just...
No,
Yes.
go ahead. I'll ask you after you do this.
Okay. Okay, so you put an edit control on your form. You make it multi-line text, and that's all that I had to do. Now there was discussion of changing to Unicode on the chat yesterday, and I think that's just if your field in your table is Unicode, then we're going to set it to Unicode here. So this is all that we have to do here for the, so we just put a basic control out there. At the design of the window on advanced, we actually have to go out here and put the reference to the JavaScript file. So it's in my _web folder, CKEditor/CKEditor.js. So they've done all the work for us. They've created all the JavaScript. We just have to include it here. And then in the form initial or page initialization on browser, these are the 2 lines that we need. We need to do extern, which is going to bring in an external file, and it's their CKEditor file. And then we're going to do CKEditor.replace. So, and then we do the actual control that we're working with. And it is the control, meta control edit _CKEditor. And you notice the ... alias, because when this page is generated on the web, it will have a different control name, maybe like an A1 or a B2 or some such thing, or A100. And so in the browser, it needs to know the real, and I'll call it the real web name. So this is it. Put a text box out there, include a JavaScript file where they've done all the work for us and that, 2 lines of code, and we've got another control that, and we'll say it's a control that's not native to WB. So it's a nice way of extending the environment.
No,
Any
I don't understand.
questions that either?
I didn't understand why you had to do a dot replace. I missed that.
Oh, because, yeah, well, the control itself from CKEditor is having to say what control are we using for our container. I mean, somehow we have to tie CKEditor, because you'll notice when we're in here, that's not a CKEditor control. It's just a text box. I named it CKEditor. I could name it EDT_1. It's just a
Oh,
text
I'm
box.
sorry. Yeah,
And so,
yeah. Okay. So the control is called that name,
right.
CKEditor, and then you dot
Yeah.
replace. Okay. Because I thought,
Yeah. So
because that could have easily
we're replacing.
been your likes control dot replace. Okay.
In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that because then there is no misunderstanding with that. Otherwise, the names are just too close to say, oh,
Yeah,
well, that's their control.
Confused me.
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you.
So my question is if you know on the browse list where you were showing it and it either showed you the text itself because you stripped it out, or it showed the actual tags. So is there a way to show the pure HTML in there, like bolded, etc.? Or is that a string?
Yeah, not natively.
Or is that a string variable so it shows as a string?
Yep, that's what I'm seeing is happening. It's just that string value because you're just formatting that as string or numeric or text. Now, it would be nice if they had a value in that column for HTML. Then that would leave it. That would show us what we want. And we're talking over here.
Right.
But when we look at
so I was wondering if there must be a control called HTML or something. Right?
Well,
no.
Not in the browse table that we've got here. That certainly would be a good suggestion for them. I mean, take advantage of everything else that we've got as long as we can do HTML. Right? Hello, this is the web. Let's see what it looks like. I was just
thinking that's the case, right? So yeah. I want to show what I want to see. I mean, why else would I?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. Very good. I love these short topics because they're meaningful stuff.
Yeah, and it's not so much teaching you for sure how to do that. I mean, just showing you what the possibilities are, and then really just how simple it is done. If you've got a basic understanding with WX, you can certainly implement these rather easily.
Hey, anybody have any other questions on this item or any of the items he covered today? If not, we'll let him go back to sleep. No, I'm only kidding.
I don't think so. I will not be doing a presentation next Friday. Sorry. Okay. We'll be doing a training session in Fort Lauderdale.
Well, very cool. Well, good luck on that, or have fun. Anyway. Okay.
I got my wrong time of the year. It should have been January when I did that one down there.
Yeah, Rob says you're a slacker. You should be doing both.
There you go. Right.
So, Tim, you got anything to say?
Can you hear me? First of all, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can.
The only thing that I would have to say is the early bird special for our registration has been extended to June the 30th. So if you still have any friends or associates who were kind of on the fence on whether or not they were coming to the conference, if you could talk to them and let them know. There's lots of benefits to come to the conference. Lots of good training.
Kidding. And talk to the guys, the actual guys, face to face. Okay. So if that's it, no questions or no comments, Glenn, thank you again for sharing and kind of letting us know what you can do. I mean, I look at that and go, my goodness, it is easier than I would have expected.
It is easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, thanks to Rob for posting that on Skype yesterday. That got me thinking and thinking, oh yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want you to slack. That's all.
No, he doesn't. He wants to keep that whip going. Yeah.
All right. So everybody have a great weekend, and I guess Mr. Pete, did you want to say anything about what's coming up?
Yeah, I kind of picked the time and didn't check with you. Does that time work for you?
I was going to say. Well, if I show up, it will be okay. Let's see, 3 p.m. Wow, that's in the middle of my day, so that's like 1 p.m. We will post the date, so check the website, but most likely that should
sometime Sunday afternoon. Me and Arnold will negotiate.
Okay. Either that, if that doesn't work, you want to do it next Friday, totally?
No, I'd like to get
You
something
need the time.
done this weekend. What we're going to be doing is going through creating your style sheet, your custom palette, and the template for your website. And as I'm sure Glenn can attest, the more you do of that, the better your life is going to be down the road. And so that's kind of what we're going to do, is just show you how to get the zoning and so forth the way you want. Create a custom palette, even if you're not going to, or you think you're not going to have anything different than the normal palette. You create a custom palette. That way, everything you do, you use a palette color. Don't use a hard-coded color. Don't use a hard-coded text. Use your style sheets, because that means that when you do come along and the CEO goes, yeah, that'd be so much better if it was a different shade of blue. You don't have to go touch 18,000 controls over your entire website. You change your palette and everything magically works. So that's what we're going to be showing, is basically spending that first day getting your foundation for your website ready to go.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking forward to that, because I know exactly what Pete's talking about.
Yeah.
This will make life easier.
Yeah, we want a
And
solid
the
foundation.
zoning, let me tell you, the zoning in 18, I've only been playing with it with a couple hours, but it is so much nicer than what they had in 17. It actually kind of makes sense now. It worked before, but the way you set them up and edited them was a little hokey pokey, and they're much easier to configure and set up in 18.
Sweet.
Are you going to be covering any of the anchoring of the controls?
That's what I'm working on now. In fact, I was planning on calling you when we got off, because I've got a anchoring situation now that I'm not quite understanding.
That more than likely makes two of us, but I've begun to look at it. But their anchoring is improved. I mean, considering what we had even 2 versions ago.
Yeah.
So we had nothing.
What I'm really happy with is just the zone editing, because before you had that little pen that you kind of drew the zones, and they kind of move on their own, and it was really odd. Now you can just grab them and drag them around, and they make a lot more sense. So, as always, with each new version, these are not, just incremental slight modifications. They give us some really good improvements with each new version.
Yeah, we need not slough past when they say they have 900 enhancements in their program. Sure, some of them are little, but I tell you, they extend the functionality so much every single version.
Yeah, without
so much
breaking anything is the other thing.
For the most part.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how, from version to version, I've never had to spend more than a couple of days upgrading any of my projects.
Yeah.
Which beats the heck out of, 3 months to upgrade your project from one
something else
to the other.
Yeah. Or not able to. I still have a 5.5 program that I could never upgrade.
Yeah, well.
Not WX. Yeah. Look, not WX. Let's look at that way.
There's .NET programs out there that, just, you don't even upgrade your program and it breaks.
That's true, isn't it?
So yeah, it's a nice stable world we're in. It's in relative terms, it's pretty stable.
Okie doke. So see you
Yeah,
Sunday after.
that's what we'll be doing. Arnold and I will figure out an exact date and time to get it done, but
We'll post it up.
I'm pretty close with it. I'm just trying to figure out a few of the the newer pieces of the zoning and so forth, so that I can really show you how it all works.
We'll get to work, man. Okay. I will stop the recording right now.